I don't know. Can you think of anybody better than Tom Hanks?
Or he's like from what are those people called? The Palladians?
Wait, what's the Palladian?
The lizard people?
Relaxing, cool.
You're messing me up. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Gen XYZen. My name is Ricky.
And I'm COVID negative Beth.
So before we get started, you watching right now, this is probably your third time watching a video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment. It's the least you can do while you're here.
Yes, and follow us on social media at Gen XYZen.
Perfect. So let's get straight into it. How's your week been, Beth?
For Thanksgiving, I'm doing a Friendsgiving, and it's like just a few of us, but because we all live in different households and we're all single ladies, like we all had to get COVID tests. So this is the line. Here's the end of the line. Here I am in the middle, and then like here's where the clinic was, all the way over there. Oh like goodness. Look at that thing. Yeah, so that was like That was like a 5-hour wait, like in the rain. Like I brought a stool and comfortable shoes. Okay, wait. And then this was the other line that I was seeing. Look at this. Like we are at the clinic and we're still walking and walking and walking. There was this rush to get a COVID test right before Thanksgiving. Then I took off my mask when I got home. Like there was like blood in it. I had not realized. Oh.
We like to see people getting tested, wearing their masks, and helping to, what's it called? Flatten the curve. We got to flatten that curve. All right, cool. Well, let's move into our first official segment. Have you heard? All right, so have you heard, where we discuss things we see in the news, media, and in the internet, and, we want to know, have you heard?
So have you heard that, like, December 15th is a deadline to choose your insurance?
The majority of us, our insurance is attached to our employer, and that's always been my case, but now at 40 years old is the first time where that actually has meant something. Enrollment is the period now where you can enter the market and get healthcare for 2021. However, if you have a qualifying event during 2021 and you missed the window to get insurance in the current window, if you have a qualifying event like a loss of employment or any kind of other thing, you can then enter the market at that point. So losing your Cobra is a qualifying event, so I don't have to actually choose now. I can wait until the middle of next year if I need to get a plan.
Which is awesome because, we'll get into it later, but there's a lot of things that are happening after December 15th that will kind of affect how you want to be able to choose your insurance. And let's talk about it. Your insurance has changed because Cirque, right?
Yes, Cirque went under. Girl gone. Yeah. but girl back. She rises again. Actually, just today or yesterday, it's official that Cirque has a new owner, and all the lines have been signed, all the papers have been pushed, all the deals have been made, and so Cirque has a new owner, and we'll stay tuned to see what that means as far as the future of the company.
Right. But in the meantime, you, like a lot of other people, are trying to figure it out. And as of August, which is, months ago, 12 million Americans lost their insurance because of COVID. So, there are millions of people who've never had to choose insurance before that have to during a pandemic. Okay, wait. In 2019, this is from the Census Bureau, 8% of people, or 26.1 million, did not have health insurance at any point during the year. It is suspected by 2027 the majority of the workforce will be freelance. So we can't rely on insurance from employers anymore. But my current plan, let's talk about it. It is $542.53 a month.
Oh, Jesus. Gross.
That's for basic, in case I get in an accident. insurance.
Like bare bones
Basic.
insurance.
Bare bones. Like no eye care, no dental, like thousands of dollars deductibles. Like that's kind of the best I could do. And next year it's increasing to almost 600 for the same plan. It's a 10%
Crazy.
increase.
And
So
you're in New York, so that's like an expensive city on top
that's
of
another
it.
that's another $683 more per year. So that's just my experience.
What you're talking about, it probably has been a lot of people's realities for a long time.
It's really hard to find something that is affordable and actually covers stuff. A lot of millennials are already freelancing, and like they were already, like the majority of like millennials were freelancing in like 2017. So there's even more. And Gen Z, I mean, similarly, they landed in really bad economy around like 2000. It started to change. Like
Yeah.
you get the rise of internet companies. Like you think about like Uber, Lyft, Airbnb. I mean, like all of these, they all have like their workforces are freelance. TaskRabbit, like all of them. So I mean, it's just and like and companies, like I work for a lot of tech companies. I often hire you as a contractor, so they don't have to pay your benefits. So like
exactly.
I mean, it's kind of like an ongoing thing where like the majority of like this kind of the working workforce right now is becoming increasingly freelance.
Obviously, healthcare.gov. If you have questions or you want to know about the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and your options there. Any other resources that you might have?
Yeah, I mean, you can look up ACA. I personally go through the Freelancers Union.
So, have you heard that Stacey Abrams is a like romantic novel writer?
I did not know that.
She has this, is it pseudonym? Is that the right word? she's got a different name as a writer. Yeah, pseudonym. It's Selena Montgomery. And let me show you a couple of her.
Oh
her
my God, I'm
titles.
so excited for this.
We've got Deception.
Oh my gosh, are you
We've
serious?
got Reckless by Selena Montgomery, aka Stacey Abrams. And we've got Secrets and Lies.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
I'm so impressed. Everyone knows who Stacey, we talked about her in the last episode. She ran for governor 2 years ago in Georgia. She lost by a close margin and by many accounts, an election that was sort of hampered by potentially meddling by her opponent, Kemp, who was actually the Secretary of State during the election, and it's the Secretary of State who's responsible for running the election. So a bit of a conflict of interest, although historically that has happened. So there were some questionable dealings there, but in the end, Stacey Abrams did concede. Let's get back to the romance novels. So I found a guy on YouTube who's been reading her books. Like he's been doing his own Audible basically, but on YouTube. Unfortunately, the audio, every sort of 10 seconds, there's this loud, annoying like glitch. So I'm only going to play a short clip from it, but here's a little bit of a taste of what Selena Montgomery gets into.
By God, Maury, you owe me. In the next instant, his mouth closed over hers. Even as he tasted, the countless reasons why he should stop swirled in his hazed thoughts. But no.
So it's deep. It's deep. You know, they're only like $5 on Amazon, so you can go support the girl, give her her little side hustle. It's very, very interesting.
So wait, so she's like a politician writing kind of like semi-erotica? Is that correct?
Yes, but so basically, long story short, we love Stacey Abrams, especially the fact that she's writing romantic novels, and also the fact that she has no shame. She has no. She will go anywhere to get the votes, and that includes going on. Do you know what Versus is?
No, what is that?
So all throughout the pandemic, there's been this series of, it's called Versus. So there was Brandy versus Monica. That was one of the big ones, where they basically go on IG Live and they each play a song from their catalog. And it's like, oh, so you got that? Well, here's this song. And our queen, Stacey Abrams, was like, well, the Versus happened in Atlanta and she's in Atlanta. So she was like, where are young urban voters more likely to be? Probably on this live. So she made an appearance.
Abrams. How you
What's
doing,
happening?
Stacey? What's going on, Stacey?
What's that? How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you guys for letting me crash before what I know is the battle to end all battles, the verses to end all verses. So thank you for giving me some street cred with my nieces and nephews.
That's right.
And he asked if she could wipe his record clean.
That's a job that the governor could do, but we'll have to think about that later. But for right now,
She's like, I didn't win the election. I ain't got no power like
we have
that.
2 senators to make sure we have COVID response, and we've got stimulus money coming back to Georgia.
That's right. We got you, baby. Let's get it. GA.
We got you, baby.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to both of you, especially for the work.
It is awkward. It is so
A little bit cringe. We appreciate the hustle, though, Queen Stacey Abrams showing up on the
I
Versus.
appreciate that, but yes, that was cringe. I am
sure the
trying.
highlight was like, "Hey, can you clear my record?"
I am trying to get street cred with my niece and nephews. I am of the street.
Yeah, she's trying. She's trying.
She's trying.
If you want more information about her efforts in the election, so basically she spearheaded the voter turnout in Georgia for the presidential election, but now she's on a mission for the run for Senate. So we kind of talked about it last week, but I think I kind of like overshadowed it with my little thirst trap moment for John Ossoff. But
There was which we decided was not a full ass snack, but a nibble,
he's
a moose bouche.
Yeah, he's like a quasi snack. So here's fairfight.com. You can go there to get more information, but most importantly, you can go there to donate to the cause, because basically if we win both seats, then we'll have a Democratic advantage, 51 to 50 in the Senate. So obviously for our Georgia fans out there, I don't know if how many are there out there, but definitely vote. And then if you're not living in Georgia, one way you can support is by donating to the cause.
And the runoff is on January 5th. And also, no shade if you happen to be Republican. It is an important fight, so get out and vote too. We'll see.
I'm not bound by any objectivity, so the Republicans are trash. Mnuchin just stashed 300 million he stashed in a fund that Biden won't be able to access for another 6 years. That was money that was going to be put aside and used for COVID relief. He's trash. Trump is now, he's destroying surveillance planes that were used to get surveillance on Russia and national security. Hello. He's basically pulled out of this international agreement that he had, and with that came these planes. I forget what they're called. They basically can provide surveillance. They are hard to detect. So it's just like a fire sale. He's like crash and burn during his lame duck season, and so do what you can to support a democratically held Senate. That's Ricky speaking, not Beth. That's me. Republicans, as they are now, are trash. I won't say that all Republican Americans are trash. I'm talking about the ones that are in control right now. Okay. The end. But I don't know, have you heard that they did the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion? It was a 30-year anniversary.
West Philadelphia, born and raised in the neighborhood. Wait. In the grounds where I spend most of the days chilling out, relaxing all cool.
You're messing me up.
Okay, anyway, dorks, continue.
Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and I'm shooting some b-ball
outside the school. Won a couple of guys who were up no good. Started making trouble in my neighborhood. Yeah. I got one little fight when my mom got. Okay, anyway. Okay. We don't have to put the audience to the whole thing.
Yeah, we don't have to do the whole thing. Yes, but the most iconic theme song ever. And so one story that came out of the reunion is, I don't know, do you remember when they switched Aunt Viv's? Do you remember that moment?
Not really. I know that I know this was a big moment, but I do not particularly remember it at the time.
Let me play this moment that really basically solidified her as queen in all of our eyes, but especially anybody who was a dancer. You knew what was up at this moment right here. Yes. Oh, but let me.
What?
I don't want.
Oh, I don't think we need music. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, I
But
feel like
this
her,
was,
like, yeah.
amazing, because the whole episode you were just
okay.
like, what is she gonna do? She wanted to take this dance class,
What?
and at this point, I didn't know that she had a dance background. She trained at Juilliard.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty clear from this clip. Yeah.
Yes, so clear. And oh wait, there's the best moment when these two girls were talking smack to her before the audition, and she's like, snap, snap. Suddenly, Aunt Viv looks a little bit different, and Jazz, who was a friend, he was like
Yeah.
the sidekick to Will.
Yeah,
Jazz kind of like said it the best.
You know, Miss Banks, since you had that baby, there's something different about you.
That was the only time they acknowledged it. So here's the tea. So apparently, the original Aunt Viv, Janet Hubert,
Yeah.
she was kind of struggling on set. She thought that it was a bit, she was in
Yeah.
she was in Broadway. She's a trained
Right.
actress, trained dancer.
Right.
And she was just used to having the set a certain way, like being professional.
Right, yeah.
And apparently Will being like 21 and,
Yeah.
this huge
Yeah.
megastar at this point, he was having, his crew over. They were playing
Yeah.
music. She just felt like the set was like
Yeah.
really unprofessional. And
Yeah.
basically Will kind of threw her under
Pushed
the
her out?
bus and pushed
Ooh.
her out. And they basically offered her this contract that nobody with self-respect like would have taken. And that
Yeah.
was the idea. They wanted her to leave. So part of the 30-year reunion was
Whoa.
this first time them meeting since then. And they've publicly called each other, like they've gone after each other publicly since then. And she's gone on live
Yeah.
and said, you know what you did, and da 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 da. And he's called her. Basically, what was the nail in the coffin for her is that Will put out into like Hollywood that she was
Yeah.
difficult to work with, which
Yes, which could be
Being,
like that could be like a death nail in your coffin, especially if you're a woman, a black woman, like any kind of like BIPOC woman, especially of a certain age. Any woman of a certain age, nevertheless, any kind of like BIPOC woman of a certain age.
Exactly. And so so she didn't get any work. She couldn't get any work after that. She was completely blacklisted. And so they had to kind of like talk it out before they had this reunion.
Thing was a threat to me.
Why was I a threat?
Not you, the world. I was so driven by fear and jokes and comedy and all of that.
Yeah, you were.
Was how,
You were live. You were live. But what you didn't realize either, that I was going through a lot at home.
Right.
You didn't know. You guys didn't know. Very abusive marriage.
I have children.
Yeah.
I've been divorced, and
So basically they kind of hashed it out. It's an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting plights of the black woman in the workplace,
I mean, that's just the plight of women. Like, men are
Yeah.
very intimidated by strong women in the workplace. I mean, like, that's just a continual issue. So, like, I mean, that's why women, like, play dumb. That's why that's why, like, I'm stuttering right now because I don't want to be too aggressive in, like, how I say things. I'd be like, oh, I might be an idiot, but, like, I have to do, like, I've been trained to do those things so that I don't come off as a bitch or threatening. And likability is a big part of surviving in a workplace. Like, you kind of have to be kind of like the daughter or the mother or the lover. Like, women can't just be a professional. Like, you have to be one of those. And it's usually, like, trying to walk around men's egos in one way or the other sometimes. I mean, there's some people who are awesome, but there's also, men are kind of defined by their ability in the workplace, why women are not. So, it's still something we've known about for a long time, but how this actually plays out in the workforce is, kind of changing. For her, nevertheless, being a woman of color, like, we already know it's hard for women of color to find a job in entertainment.
And I think there's multiple struggles depending on where you're coming from or how you identify. So there's being a woman in the workplace, there's being a black woman in the workplace, there's being a black man in the workplace, and feeling the same way. Like, I can say in my own career, there's times where I've had to silence myself because, you don't want to come off as the angry black man. I literally just talked about this in therapy. It's like we spend so much time filtering what we say and reading the room to make sure that we haven't crossed over that line. Because there's a moment where you can push your point, and if you go too far, then you kind of get that label. And it's one of those things that's not spoken out loud. It's just this natural thing that happens. And, you know, I've been faced with like a coworker in tears in front of me because I've had a gripe or I've had to confront them with something. And it's like, well, in that moment, what else can I do? For me to continue to like push my point would be for me to not recognize their tears and for me to be the angry black man. So you take a read of the room and it's like, okay, that's my cue to like stand down. But also, is that intentional? It's like the whole thing with like, you know, white tears, you know, kind of thing, like using them as a weapon kind of thing. It's like, how do you combat that when there's already stigma attached to you?
You're constantly kind of adapt to an environment that wasn't built for you. And also like kind of in this age of like kind of racial reckoning and Me Too, like there's a whole other layer of like, yay, it's acknowledged, but also like people are leaning onto you like, how should we deal with this situation? So you have all this free labor that you're giving up on top of just kind of this emotional, like on top of pandemic where everyone's already emotionally like challenged. So like it's the fact that like everyone kind of struggles in the workplace, but then you have this added burden on top of that in the workplace.
They come to you, I want to have the conversation. I want to be an agent of change. I want to be effective. And it's like, do you really want to have the conversation? Or are you just saying that because that's what is being told to you in the news and media that the conversation needs to happen? But are you really willing to have the conversation? Because in order to have the conversation, it's going to take you looking at yourself. And I don't know if you're ready for that exercise. And usually they're not.
And it's just like some of it's just a perspective. And there's other things, like even if you're just looking at everybody who's just like, just say like everyone who's white, there's just like a whole thing of like economic issues, how you were educated. People who are developers talk very differently than people who are salespeople. So you have all these personality conflicts in the workplace as well. So, I mean, there's so many different dynamics that it can be really hard to nail down if it's because of your color, because of your sex, because of your economic background, because of who your family is. It's really hard to know if it's personal until you see those larger trends.
And to go back to the story that brought up this conversation, I could see how Will could be super disillusioned to go from sort of, you know, Philadelphia projects and then to become this famous rapper and then to have your own show and be 21. Like, of course, you're not seeing all the social, cultural, like professional issues below you. You're riding this wave, this cloud of fame and money and exposure. So it's easy to see how he could be like, she's killing my vibe, you know, like get rid of her. All right, I think that's a good note to end on. Let's shift into the
well, that was a long have you heard?
Yeah, we need to work on our brevity. Hold up. My friend Justin, or DJ Dandy, out of Tokyo, he's a DJ extraordinaire. He requested that we look into the phenomenon that was, and maybe still are, Mitch McConnell's purple hands.
Do you have some pictures, by the way?
Yes.
Well, thank you. First off, thank you, Justin, for throwing it our way. Do you have some pictures to share, Ricky?
So I'm going to Google Mitch McConnell. Look.
Oh, yeah. I mean, is it just like old man hands?
They're kind of purple and like they've got like a Band-Aid on them. Can I make this?
I mean, I feel like there's just a lot of like people who are older in the Senate. Like that's just kind of their vibe. I feel like that's just an old person thing.
I'm going
to like pull this off.
Mitch McConnell hands conspiracy to see if if there are any interesting conspiracy theories. There really isn't. Nothing comes up. Some people said it could possibly be from multiple IVs.
I mean, that's what it looks like because like
surface capillaries. Yeah. We cannot really confirm that. Anyway, it was still weird for him to just be sort of not even talk about it. It was just weird. I just think it made him look more like the troll that he is. So.
I mean.
Or he's like from what are those people called? The Palladians?
Wait, what's the Palladian?
The lizard people?
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Actually, I was kind of curious about, you sent that link about Giuliani. There was the whole The Juliana Gross moment.
It's such a fall from grace.
Like all of
In
America
school,
like
the
loved
mayor
him,
of
and now
Mocoso Town, Rudy Giuliani, blowing his fucking little nose, checking it out,
This is gross.
haha, laughing, wiping it in his fucking mouth. Now he's wiping his coke sweats.
I feel like
Please, fool. First,
I feel like if you're on camera, like I wiped my nose in the last show, so like I don't feel like I can speak about that.
It's one thing to blow your
But-
nose and then discard of that tissue, but to then inspect it, then wipe your mouth with it, then wipe your forehead with it.
Yeah.
It's problematic.
What that made me think of, have you watched like the new Borat yet on Amazon Prime?
I have not, because that franchise, want to talk about cringe, want to talk about
What?
cannot watch. Makes me
What?
so uncomfortable, but I know what you're bringing up. Allegedly tucking his shirt into his pants.
Yes.
While reclined on a bed.
The subsequent movie film of Borat, Sacha Baron Cohen is kind of like trolling the GOP, and he like shows up at the convention, supposedly like trying to deliver his daughter to like, to the vice president. There's an ad, so you may want to wait for.
No, I pay for YouTube, so.
So anyway, but it kind of shows the clip. But I mean, like, so like she was posing as like, you know, an Eastern European reporter, talking to Giuliani, and then like kind of everyone leaves the room, and like he goes like into the bedroom with her, and then like he's laying down on the bed and like undoing his pants. So I mean, it's kind of
has been caught in a very humiliating encounter with a young actress who was pretending to be a TV journalist in a scene
so
in
here's
Sacha
the
Baron
picture.
Cohen's latest mockumentary, a sequel to his Borat film. Trump's
so
personal
there's
lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, might have just experienced one of the
Yeah.
most awkward scenes in the Borat film.
Yeah.
Mr. Giuliani was fooled into meeting with the 24-year-old actress Maria Bakalova, who was playing Borat's daughter and posing as a conservative TV journalist.
Oh my
The
God.
former mayor of New York City.
so so he might be tucking in his pants, but I mean, like I feel like it's already in a compromising position.
You do. Things come up. Okay, so thank you, Justin, for that
Yes,
random
thank you.
rabbit hole. We didn't. I guess you can let us know how deep we should have gone. Send us more clips next time. Okay, let's roll into Don't Even.
All right.
We'll be right back. Beth, what is your Don't Even for the week?
I don't even think of overpaying for streaming. You know what I've recently discovered? That there's like all these free streaming services. So usually like you have like your Hulu, your Netflix, and your Disney, and you're like, and then it all adds up to like more than cable, and you're like, what am I doing?
Yes.
But I've discovered that, so obviously there's Prime, which is a multi-fur. You get multiple things. But there's also things like Tubi. Have you heard of this? Crackle, Pluto, IMDb TV. All free.
Okay.
And they have a whole bunch of free movies, a whole bunch of free TV shows. And you
How do
don't
I
have to
get
pay
away
for
with
it.
that?
They have commercials. So, I mean, if you're willing to put up with that, but I mean, like, you still pay for Hulu and get commercials.
I have a Don't Even related to streaming. My Don't Even is to Netflix. Don't even try to make me feel sorry for Prince Charles. Have you watched The Crown season 4?
Oh, I have not, but there's so much buzz about it because I'm not paying for Netflix right now. I circulate.
Okay. It's very good, but the first few episodes, they really try to like tug at the heartstrings with poor old Prince Charles being sort of like not respected or admired by the Queen or anybody else in the family. And, you know, they show him going away to college and not having any friends and woe is me. He makes his friendship with his professor because he has to learn how to speak, is it Welsh? Because he's the Prince of Wales.
Yeah.
And there's this whole conflict. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's like I start to feel sorry for the man, and then he is trash for the remainder of the season because then you remember all the crap he put Diana through, Princess Diana, and his whole relationship with Camilla Bowles, Parker Bowles, and how he expected Diana to be faithful and not have any side hustles while he maintained a very romantic, like loving relationship with Camilla very publicly in front of her face. So don't start the series that way with making us, I mean, I'll speak for me. I kind of almost shed a tear for the man early on as a kid. And then I guess that was to give maybe perspective on like how he turned into sort of like the ego driven future king of England, but it's like, no, he's trash. He treated her like trash. Yes, it was an arranged wedding, but I think he could have done a lot better and tried a lot harder. And even Princess Anne was like, get your shit together. Like, this is like, what are you doing? Like, you've got Princess Diana. She's perfect. She's the mother of your children, and just figured out. But they do a good job of showing how they're quite different and how it wasn't the most ideal match. And because of his upbringing and because of her beauty, like all of the attention she got obviously made him feel a certain way. He was into theater. He was doing Shakespeare before he assumed his like official royal duties. And that's why the family kind of didn't respect him. So when she started getting all the accolades, when she started becoming more famous than him, obviously he took that a certain way. But it was just it's just a whole mess. It's just sad all around.
I mean,
but don't make me feel sorry for him ever.
Like the monarchy has changed over the past 100 years, and I mean
it has, but it also hasn't, because watching The Crown, especially with the storyline of Princess Di, it gave me more perspective on Meghan Markle, and Princess Di came from like an aristocratic family, had the right upbringing, and she still was ostracized. And so imagine Meghan Markle.
a biracial woman with like her mom is like dress. So I mean,
from
like
Hollywood,
divorced
like,
Hollywood.
So of course, like, of course she didn't last. Like, I can imagine they go into how even Princess Di had to have etiquette lessons. Like her grandmother was teaching her the order of bowing and what to do. Can you imagine Meghan Markle in etiquette class at her, she's a fully realized like adult who has her own social issues and like charities that she wants to work with. She's not going to sit in etiquette class and learn the order of bowing. Like, I'm not surprised that her and Charles decided to not Charles.
Oh my goodness.
What's his name? But yeah, I'm not surprised that he was like, let's get out of here, because it's not going to work. It's absolutely not going to work.
Because she was like considered like the commoner, but like the Spencers go back hundreds and hundreds of years. It's been aristocratic, like where Lady Di came from. Like that has been it's been part of the like the aristocrats of like of like England for hundreds of years. So like if she had to like take those classes, I mean, so it has progressed to certain levels, but obviously it's very steeped in tradition. So
because you remember when somebody at one of the first dinners that after they were married, some cousin of somebody wore a pin that was completely like a racist image, or it had something, I don't know if it was like the big lips thing or something, but it was something very clearly like a racist moment. And I can't imagine, I'm sure Meghan was just like, no, that was the one and done. We're out. Like, deuces.
I mean, I feel like there was probably like so many instances.
Oh, for sure.
Many instances.
Well, honestly, it's people like Princess Di and Meghan Markle that are keeping it current and relevant, and not by choice, forcing it to adapt to the times. It's always with the heels being dug in. I mean, the Queen didn't even want to go out and acknowledge the people after Princess Di passed away, and it's like, I don't know if did you ever watch Helen? Portrayal?
Yeah, because she didn't quite understand. Yeah, it seems like she wouldn't really quite realize like how like powerful she was with people. But I mean, she's been around since like the turn of last century. I mean, like there's a lot to adapt to. I mean, like living through like war, like her uncle stepping down to marry some like divorced American, and then like then her dad taking over, and then with wars, and then like anyway.
Yeah, but
I mean, she's had a long like.
It seems like she just had zero character arc though. Like, what are the lessons learned? I would love to know her actual thoughts of the whole Meghan and Harry. I'm sure she's livid.
I'm sure she has like. I'm sure she has some. I'm sure she has strong thoughts, but I mean, I think like part of the amazing part of her is that like she has just like her outward persona has been so steady, which is something like it's hard enough for anyone to keep that for like a year or two or a decade. Like how many stars have broken down, like to keep it consistent for like nearly a century. Like what celebrity has, other than like maybe Tom Hanks, has ever had like kind of that kind of consistency in character that people still like kind of like universally admire? I mean, can you think of like
Tom Hanks is your go-to?
I mean, I don't know. Can you think of anybody better than Tom Hanks?
I'm just letting you just wade in this. No, Tom Hanks is pretty solid. He's like a teddy bear. Everyone is team Tom Hanks. Although his son, that's another story.
I did not.
He's got a white Rasta son, right? I don't know how that one got away, but have you seen him?
Oh no.
Yeah, that's Chet.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, on that note, let's get into Zenspiration. If you don't know, the Zenspiration, we pull a random page from Paulo Coelhos' Warrior of Light. La, 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 la. Okay. And we try to get some, inspiration from the quotes. So, this week's Zenspiration, the spiritual energy of the path uses justice and patience to prepare your spirit. This is the path of the night, a path that is at once easy and difficult because it forces one to set aside trivial things and chance friendships. That is why, at first, many hesitate to follow it. This is the first teaching of the nights. You will erase everything you had written in the book of your life up until now. Restlessness, uncertainty, lies. And in the place of all of this, you will write the word courage. By beginning the journey with that word and continuing with faith in God or fill in the blank, you will arrive wherever you need to arrive. I love that. Basically, it's like start a new chapter. Forget about everything that happened before because all that matters is what's happening now. Stay present and keep it pushing.
I like it. That's a great way to end it.
So, yeah, that was our episode. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, and make sure to comment.
Oh, yes. Follow us at Gen XYZen on social media. Thank you.
Yes, please subscribe. Thank you to our 28 subscribers. So we gained about 3 from last week. Thank you for putting that work in. I appreciate you. And please support. And we'll see you next week. All right?
Bye.
Bye. Bye.